Are you ready? If you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya. What's up? I'm awesome. Hello, ladies. Hey, ladies. Hey, really? Really? Oh, yeah. Yes. Yowie, wowie. Like mom. Baby. It's true. Believe that.
You can't see me, unless, of course, you're on our YouTube channel where we post all of these podcast videos. Anyway, welcome to the 2 Words Podcast, everybody. What's up, everybody? My name is John, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Radio Matt. Radio Matt, what's happening today?
I am like 85% better.
On the Radio Matt Health Watch, ladies and gentlemen.
The third week, third show. My voice is almost back from 3 rounds of losing my voice. So
Yeah.
I didn't get knocked out. I'm still here, guys.
Well, that's good, because I'm going to need your voice, because today our 2 words are bad attitude, and we are talking about none other than everybody's favorite 5 years of wrestling, the Attitude Era.
It really was 5 years. Yeah. It feels like it was longer. It feels just because of the memories that you have. It feels like it was a big, long, at least decade.
There was so much packed into it.
Yeah, it really was.
So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to give you our WrestleMania predictions, which we know you are hanging on to. You are waiting. You've been waiting to find out what John and Matt have to say about WrestleMania, and today you get your wish. But first, we have our first segment, and the first segment, trying something a little new today, Radio Matt.
Well, since the beginning, we've had a hard time coming up with a name for it.
Yeah, and I think we tried like Matt Talk, or like Between the Ropes, or Between Two Posts. I don't know what we. Most of them were garbage, so we just say, "Hey, what's up?" But I had an idea, because a couple of weeks ago, a dear part of our childhoods collectively passed away in the form of Razor Ramon passing after having 3 heart attacks and several surgeries, and he
that was a rough day.
That was a very rough day. I texted Matt, and I texted several other people, and it's like, Scott Hall Death Watch was the hardest day of this year so far, like bar none. And so, it's kind of weird, because COVID didn't really take anybody that was near and dear to wrestling as much. I mean, like Pat Patterson passed away.
Was that a COVID?
That wasn't a COVID, though.
Yeah, no.
So it wasn't a COVID thing. So even all during that, we didn't really...
But we kind of expected it. We kind of expected somebody, or at least probably multiple people in the wrestling world.
Like Jerry Briscoe's still running around, I think, somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
But I had this idea for our first segment, in honor of Scott Hall, in honor of Razor Ramon. I think this section should be called Hey Yo.
I love it.
I love it too. Hey Yo, Matt, did you hear about CYN's new rules?
What?
Control Your Narrative new rules.
Noodles? What?
The noodles. The new Control Your Narrative rules.
Control Your Noodles?
Control Your Noodles.
No, that's a terrible name for a show. That's not called.
That's the new rules, is everybody has to use a pool noodle.
Tell me, I have not heard about these.
Okay, so Control Your Narrative came out a couple of weeks ago with their own rules and regulations, and you can tell this was put together by somebody who was fed up with the WWE, almost specifically, and they are getting ripped for them because rule number 1 is you are in control. Fair enough. The company is called Control Your Narrative, so obviously.
So is that implying like you're writing your own storyline as you go?
Like
you work with we're going to tell you who you're going to wrestle, but at that point you write the story?
I guess.
Like no long-term story planning from
that can't go wrong. That can't go bad. Rule number 2 is also you are in control. So it's kind of like a Fight Club thing. Okay. You're in control. Cool. You're also in control. And then they kind of keep up. It's almost like they took the rules from Fight Club because the third rule is fights end when you tap out, get knocked out, can't stand or quit. Sanctioned matches, which they put in parentheses, can end via pinfall. But there's a couple of rules on here. Specifically rule number 5, no super kicks, no tope suicidas, and no Canadian destroyers.
Are they just overused or what?
I don't know. I mean, like... The Canadian Destroyer is kind of a ridiculous move. But like super kicks are cool.
Yeah.
And everybody can do a good super kick. Yokozuna did a super kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and a good super kick at that. Like tope suicidas. I think they're always fun. It's always good to see somebody diving out of the ring.
What was that guy's name that was commentator for a little while? The guy with
Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah, I loved hearing him say.
Mamma mia, tope suicida!
I loved hearing him say the name of that move.
Dude, I could just watch. I watched boxing because of Mauro Ranallo. Rule number 6 is the fight isn't with your opponent; it's with yourself.
Ooh, that's inflection. That's introspection. There we go.
Introspection. Fights will go as long as they have to. Sanctioned matches hit their times. So I guess you have a time limit, and you will obey it.
Makes sense. Can't be total anarchy, guys.
And number 8 is if you want to control your narrative, you have to fight. So they put all these rules in. Specifically, there's a project. There's a project pit. Standard professional wrestling rules apply for sanctioned matches. Chaos ensues in the project pit. So I guess every match is like a lumberjack match where people just like beat you up if you get out of the match or out of the ring. I don't know. But, you're in control. You can't do Canadian destroyers or super kicks, but you're in control.
Everybody knows the best anarchy is a rule-based anarchy.
Yeah. That was really the best. That's how we overthrew Stalin.
Well, I'm interested in seeing where this goes, and seeing if it grows beyond that. I think it kind of sounds like they're almost taking an original XFL take on football, like they, here.
Please tell me their commentators are going to commentate from a hot tub. That is the only way I watch. They get a TV deal if they do that. I'm telling you right now.
Hey, did you hear Cody Rhodes is officially official? Finally.
It's officially official.
Enough of this back and forth. There has been a signed agreement. He is here. He's in WWE again. And we will almost certainly see him at WrestleMania. And I guess we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah. That's good. I think... I mean, at this point, if I'm Cody Rhodes, I'm like, listen, I just gotta shut Dave Meltzer up. He's gotta. This is just Meltzer writing. He's coming. He's not coming. He's gonna be at WrestleMania. Oh no, he's gonna be at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Well, now they're on this whole thing. Like every rumored news story that we're seeing after like the confirmation that yes he signed is. Also mentions WWE is hiring like a private jet to get him there so nobody knows he's coming. Like, well, we all know. We all know now.
Now you've ruined it, Dave.
They said they were chanting it on Raw when Seth Rollins was being interviewed, and Seth Rollins is like, well, rumors are rumors, but I'm looking to make a moment here. Like, he addressed it, like essentially just almost confirming it, like a half wink. Yeah, well, So,
yeah,
it's not going to be the Hardy Boys situation. None of us saw that coming. None of us really believed it.
Some of us didn't see it happen.
Like we wanted it. Thanks a lot, John. Like we all wanted it, but we're like, there's no way. They're wrestling for other tag team titles the night before. There's no way they're going to show up at WrestleMania, and they were there. This is not happening with Cody Rhodes. We all know he's going to be there. Luckily, we all want him to be there. So it's going to be okay either way, WWE.
But hey, did you hear that Vince Russo doesn't think that Cody Rhodes is really going to make a difference in the WWE, he does not believe that it is going to add one more eye, as he said. Let me pull up the article, bro, because that's how Vince Russo talks. Bro. This is Vince Russo's voice. It's not.
Vince Russo.
I'm Vince Russo. Okay. Bro, Cody is not going to add one eyeball to the show. Not one, said Russo. I want everybody to write down that the rating is pre-Cody and what the rating will be after Cody. Bro, let me tell you one thing perfectly straight. It's not Cody's fault, just like it wasn't CM Punk's fault. It was not CM Punk's fault how he just became another name on the roster. Bro, he says bro a lot.
Bro.
Isn't
it, bro?
Bro.
He uses bro to punctuate his sentences.
It's like comma.
Commas, periods.
Bro, this is not going to make one hit. Bro, this is not going to make one hill of beans difference to people who are not watching the show. But it's interesting that he brings up CM Punk because AEW ratings are up 4% since CM Punk debuted in AEW.
Burn, bro.
Burn, bro.
Hey, yo, looks like Bobby Lashley might actually make it back from his injury in time for WrestleMania.
Ooh.
They thought he was going to be out for several months, but things have been going really, really well. The only bad news is if he does have a match at WrestleMania, it's going to be against Omos. So,
stay injured.
Stay injured, please. We don't need that. We don't need that 10-minute match. It's fine. We can just make it shorter, please.
I'll just take a bathroom break some other time. It'll be fine.
So whatever, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, yo, I got a problem. I hate the new entrance ramp. And by new entrance ramp, I know it's been here for like 2 years, but I hate it.
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
It's just too big. It's just this big glass shiny floor and there's no ramp.
Yeah, not essentially.
It's just like there's like 4 feet of railing and then it's the ring. I miss like the stage being a part of the whole thing and then there's like a ramp that you walked down and it was this big deal.
We're going to talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah.
In the main segment because I'm almost right there with you.
Yeah. It's just visually unappealing to me.
It is. I agree. What was it?
And that there's no like Titantron. It's just a giant screen behind them, which I don't know why. It's like anyway.
We're really going to talk about.
We're going to talk about this. I think we're going to talk about this.
But don't worry, because it's almost WrestleMania, and you're going to have like 200, 300 yards of ramp. It's going to make up for all the ramp you didn't have all year long.
Because they're in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ramp's starting in Arlington. Ramp's going from Arlington to Louisville, right into Dallas County.
Hey, yo, Gable Stevenson, who was drafted to Raw, and then hasn't been seen since.
Yeah, I forgot that happened.
Says he's going to be at WrestleMania and plans to show fans what he can do. Just not sure what that's going to be. He's not in any scheduled match that we're aware of. And he's not set to be on any show. So yeah, maybe are they doing the pre-show?
The Andre thing?
Is he going to win the Andre the Giant thing?
I wish they cared more about the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial.
I feel like the first year it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, it's been like, well, who's a wrestler that we want to make happy but don't really want to give any kind of real victory to? Let's put him on the pre-show, have him win that thing.
Yeah. And then fire them 2 weeks later anyway.
Are you out of stories?
I'm out of stories.
I got a couple more. Hey, yo, Big E is recovering from a broken freaking neck, which he got when he took a bad bump on a belly-to-belly suplex outside the ring. Tweeting a couple days ago that because of the C1 fracture, his doctor says he narrowly escaped a stroke, paralysis, or even death.
That's insane.
And rumors abound that he might be done. Like this might not be comebackable. Which has yet to be denied by Big E himself.
Here's the thing about a lot of that. And you see this in every sport. When somebody gets injured and they're going to be in a similar situation to the one in which they got injured, they're scared. And that affects their ability to perform.
Oh, sure.
It happens to basketball players, happens a lot of times. It happens to football players. Football players get injured and they just never come back from it. And you've seen wrestlers get injured and they weren't ever really able to shake it. And a thing like a C1 fracture, I mean, that's
terrifying because if it does happen again, death is far more likely.
You got your whole life ahead of you, man.
Yeah.
Like he's what, 35?
Yeah, he's roughly our age. Yeah,
I mean, he's
age.
Yeah, when Taz is tweeting out like, "Hey, you should be more careful," that's when you know you got to do some introspection on some things.
And lastly, hey yo, on Ryan Satin's podcast, Out of Character, The Undertaker revealed that he would sometimes pull out one of those big caskets for the casket matches and just take a lovely nap inside.
I love that so much. I love the thought that somebody opened up a casket and he's just there. Like, oh no.
Just cuddling his little stuffed urn.
Yeah.
Taking a lovely snooze.
Yeah. Well, that's all you got.
That's all I got.
That's all we have for our newly revisioned section. Hey yo, when
I think it went well. I think it went good.
I think hey yo is
Feels
a good.
Feels
hey,
good.
Let
Feels
us
right.
know. Do we need to do more razor? Hey yo, do we need to start it off like that more? Because that might get old. But you know.
Say hello to the news cycle.
We could come up with a whole song, a whole sound bite. It'll be great. When we come back, we are giving our WrestleMania picks, so don't leave.
Hey everyone, I'm Hector Mirai, and this is Faith and Fandom 180 on LTN Radio. So, one of my favorite things about the movie The Batman is the performance of Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Like, the Penguin's not my favorite character or anything, but Colin Farrell did, like, a seriously gangster job being an awkward gangster. And, you know, Colin Farrell's got a past involving superhero movies, and Bullseye wasn't, like, you know, the best representation. But, you know what? Colin Farrell just did such a good job with this. It was impressive. The performance was, like, if you would have told me the Penguin was going to be that cool and well done, I just wouldn't have believed it. But one of my favorite things about the whole experience was that after my kids and I watched the movie, I showed them a picture of what Colin Farrell looks like normally, and they straight up couldn't believe it. They just said, that's not who that is. That's a different person. That's not the same guy. And then, even more so, I showed them a video of him talking, and when they realized he had an accent that wasn't, you know, Penguin, they were like, that's not possible. How is this the same person? And, you know, I explained to them prosthetics, vocal coaches, dialogue training, stuff like that. But they said that he was a totally different person. And, you know, it reminds me of this passage in Ephesians 4:22-24, where it says, "Put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness." When Colin Farrell put on this new version of himself, people couldn't see him and know it was him. In fact, Jeffrey Wright, who plays Commissioner Gordon, didn't realize that's who he was in front of for a noticeable amount of time. Like, there's an interview about it where he just straight up was confused. He didn't think that was Colin Farrell. And when we actually are living our lives out the way God calls us to, we should be such new creations that if people looked at our old dark selves, that they would not even recognize us, because we have put on something new. Remember to catch Faith and Fandom 180 every Wednesday morning on the Back Row Morning Show, only on LTN Radio. And if you'd like to learn more about Faith and Fandom, head over to faithandfandom.org, where you can learn about our Comic-Con ministry, podcast, memes, apparel, and book series. You can even read new chapters before they make it to the next book. I'm Hector Mirai, and thank you for spending the last 180 seconds with me.
And welcome back to the Two Words Podcast. It is WrestleMania this week.
Times.
I was about to say season, but it's like we're a week away. We're
about a week away, yeah.
Currently, we are 2 weeks away. A week and a couple of days A week and a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because it's next weekend.
Two weekends away. Let's put it that way. There we go.
From the show of shows, the Showcase of the Immortals.
I'm actually kind of excited this year.
Honestly,
more so than last year.
Honestly, me too. And you want to know why? Because we are not going to hate people for enjoying their lives.
We're going to be nice.
We're just going to let people.
We're going to let Logan Paul have a good time.
And believe you me, I want to hate Logan Paul as much as the next guy. I really do. But I'm not going to. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Jesus said that thy neighbor.
So we're not giving like our full list of predictions yet. We'll kind of do that in the moment when we do the watch along, which we will be doing both nights. I think as it stands right now, I'll be with you on night 1. And then we'll both be here for night 2.
We should both be here night 2.
I think that's currently the plan. The plan was John was going to pick which night looked better, and so far 2 seems to be shaping out to be the better one.
I have a family. I can't dedicate 8 hours over 2 nights.
Completely. I don't have a family, so.
Well, you do have a family.
Oh, do I? I forgot about them.
It's easy to forget. They're forgettable.
But it's going to be an interesting time.
So let's just start with night 1. Let's just go through this.
You got the whole list.
And this is, I think this is the full list. This is from GameSpot.com, which Paramount Plus advertises with them, so I guess they're legitimate. I don't know. They've got a. I've always been told like it's legitimate if they've got a nice enough website. You can kind of judge a place based on their website, and they've got a nice enough website. So shout out to GameSpot. Not a sponsor yet. So night 1, Charlotte Flair against Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
I feel like it's going to be great. I mean, I think both women's championships, because both are going to be on that first night, right?
Yep.
Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair also for the Raw. I mean, I think they're both going to be banging matches for sure.
Yeah, I think that I'm really excited for Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair because Bianca Belair tore the house down last year at WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
I mean, just ridiculous. Like, I'd watch her and Sasha Banks again at this year's WrestleMania, and everybody knows I'm not the biggest Sasha Banks fan. But I would watch Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. That was an instant Matt classic to me, and so
and then we got the tease for the Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch thing because we thought they were going to have a match.
Yeah.
When Becky surprise returned,
and then it was just like an arm drag.
It was like a 20-second squash match. Like I looked down and we looked back up and it was over.
But I even think that Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, because the big complaint with Charlotte Flair for the longest time was that we were seeing too much of her, and I just feel like we're not seeing. I don't get that feeling at this moment.
I think they actually listened. It's been a while. We haven't really been over inundated with Charlotte Flair.
Speaking of which, where's Asuka been? For like 2 years now.
Yeah, Asuka's been gone for a while.
Asuka's been gone for a little bit. She won Money in the Bank and then won the championship. And she was just gone.
For that, yeah.
That's interesting. If anybody knows where Asuka is, we're sending out a 2 words alert to find Asuka. I don't know her last name. A short Asian lady with colorful hair.
I think it's like Cher, just one name.
It's just Asuka.
Asuka.
But yeah, I think that Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey is going to be a good match. I think we gave Ronda Rousey. I think she got a raw deal last time because I think they booked her poorly. Honestly, I think the booking 100% was a problem for her, and why she couldn't get over with the fans. Because you watch those matches, she's not a bad wrestler.
No,
she's really not that bad of a talker, especially now. She's gotten better. So I don't know if she's
I thought the tag team matches she was in at the previous
is it WrestleMania 33?
No, the last pay-per-view.
Oh,
it was
Elimination Chamber.
Elimination Chamber, but they had it in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. It was really weird. Yeah. But I thought she did great there.
Yeah,
coming out in her judo outfit. Yeah. But I think she looks good.
Yeah,
she doesn't look like she's been sitting on her hands. Looks like she's still been training and ready.
She's been working on it. Maybe I wonder if she's been talking with like Paul Heyman. Because I know for a while there were talks of like, there were rumors that her and Paul Heyman were going to get together and kind of do some stuff. So, and I mean, like Paul Heyman, I'd send everybody to Paul Heyman if I could.
Can you imagine having Ronda Rousey join the Roman Reigns stable.
Oh my gosh.
That would be fun. Remember when stables used to keep getting members for a while? Like they would just grow and grow?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. Stables like get their initial members and break up in 6 months.
Yeah.
Now, I know we don't want an NWO situation. We talked about that last week. But, like, we had the DX situation. You know, Sean left, and so they're like, well, let's bring in X-Pac. And then a few weeks later, let's bring in the New Age Outlaws. Then they had, like, Tori Wilson in there. And then Kane was vicariously a part of them. And that was as far as they grew. But it was fun. It was fun to add new people. It was fun for, like, every few months. Surprise, I'm in this group now.
And I think that's the thing is, like, it's like, factions had longevity back then, so it was like DX was a thing for a number of years.
A long time.
It wasn't just like some friends who got together and was like, oh, I like you, you like me, hey, it's like, no, this was like they came out as a faction and they were there for forever. I mean, DX,
except for
honestly,
the Union.
What's up?
Except for the Union. The Union lasted 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of potential.
We don't talk about Union. No.
We are the Union.
Which side note, I did not know that that the Hurt Business was still a thing.
Is it again?
Well,
because I feel like they broke apart twice.
So, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander have been having some matches lately. And, like, they're still a tag team, but they have been coming out as the Hurt Business.
Still as the Hurt Business? That's really weird.
So, I don't know.
Maybe they just kept the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley broke off with them. Then they got back together. And then Bobby Lashley broke off with them again.
Yeah.
But they're still calling themselves... That's weird.
That's very strange.
That's strange.
Okay, so we have Rey and Dominic Mysterio and The Miz and Logan Paul. This is just a match.
This is a match I don't care about, but I'm going to give all the leeway in the world.
I'm gonna pay attention.
Yes. I'm not gonna let this be the P match. I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, because I don't love Logan Paul. I was never a Logan Paul fan when he was a YouTube star. He did all of that stuff. I know he got in trouble with some YouTube stuff.
Got in trouble a couple times, yeah.
Yeah. And then I heard he started boxing, and I'm like, there's no way this is a good idea. And then I watched him box, and I'm like, okay, the kid can box.
Yeah,
like
not terrible.
I have some opinions about those matches, but I think he showed some talent, and I think that he has shown some talent, like with The Miz. He's really good to put with The Miz, I think.
Yes, yeah. If there's going to be someone he's with in a tag team, Miz is a perfect choice.
I love Rey Mysterio. I love The Miz. I like Dominic Mysterio enough.
I'm not there yet. Dominic. I mean, I like his spirit, but I'm just not. I don't know.
If someday I ever get to interview Dominic Mysterio, I have one question I'm going to ask him, and that is if they actually told him that Eddie Guerrero was not his real dad. They were like, "Hey, this isn't real."
I need him to develop his own character, and I feel like they've been teasing that off and on.
Yeah,
that they're going to break the father-son tag team up.
Yeah,
and let him grow into his own thing, and then they just kind of keep going back on it. And I don't know if it's like a family business push that they're trying to go in, or if they just don't have the idea behind it yet.
Yeah.
But seeing, the 7'8" Dominic Mysterio doing the same moves as his 3'5" father,
he's 9 feet tall,
is I don't know, awkward and weird, and he looks gangly and weird when he does the things designed to be small and impactful. And so I need him to develop his own moveset, his own style, his own look. I can get behind him. It's just got to be, it can't be Rey Mysterio's son be his gimmick.
Honestly, he really should probably lean more towards the Eddie Guerrero thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think he could. I hate that shirt. I hate that shirt he wears.
Yeah, it's awful. I'd love to bring back the lie, cheat, and steal kind of idea.
Oh, 100%.
Or turn him into
honestly,
that guy.
If you want to put butts in seats, have Dominic Mysterio turn on Rey.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Chair to the head.
And I feel like it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah,
I feel like it's got to happen eventually.
So I'm going to give that match the benefit of the doubt, and I'm predicting it will be at least a B- match.
We will be nice.
Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin.
I mean, it'll probably be fine. I'm not invested.
I'm not invested either. But as much as I don't really care for the Happy Corbin gimmick, Baron Corbin can wrestle.
Yes, absolutely.
Drew McIntyre can wrestle. So, like, by the transitive property, both of them wrestling together should work.
It'll be a good match. It just, the storyline, I guess, is what's not driving it. As it'll be a good technical match.
He walked into WrestleMania as champion multiple occasions, and now he's wrestling Happy Corbin.
Mm-hmm. It's been that way for a while.
For nothing. The Usos defending their tag team championships versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs for the SmackDown tag team titles.
I really have the same feeling. I don't feel like the Usos are going to lose.
No,
I think they're going to keep this. I think as long as Roman has the titles, they're going to have the titles for a while, just to keep that heir apparent. Unless they want to break them up, which is going to be a bad choice. So
they tried. I think they tried.
So yeah. So I don't know. I don't expect anything mesmerizing out of this match, other than just the standard. Yes, they can all wrestle. Can Rick Boogers wrestle? Like, I've seen a little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Like, he has an opportunity to show off.
He can sell Old Spice.
But I don't know.
You know, I think it's weird that the Usos are the best that they've been. Like, this is probably at least towards the peak of their performance. But the tag team division right now is trash. It's garbage.
Hot, wet, stinky garbage.
Because there is no tag team division.
Yeah.
There's no tag team division on SmackDown. There's a weird one on Raw.
Weird one on Raw.
But there's just no tag team. I don't know. It's weird to me. I think that it is going to be a technically sound match. Yeah. I don't really get Shinsuke, which I haven't gotten Shinsuke in years. I just haven't gotten it.
I loved him when he first started.
Yeah, but he can wrestle. He can put on a really good show.
Yeah.
Along with the Usos, it's going to be a good match. I'm still probably going to take the over on the Usos.
Yeah.
Because I don't think.
But those three matches right there, out of all the matches of the entire 2-night thing, are the only three that I'm kind of less than psyched about.
That's fair.
Like everything else, I'm at least decently psyched about.
Yeah. And then we are going to close out night one with Stone Cold Steve Austin confronting Kevin Owens for the KO show. So, why? I don't know.
So I'm positive this is going to be more than just a scuffle.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be a match, but it's not going to be like a 3-minute stunner and he walks out. It's going to be some sort of, short street fight kind of thing. Because everybody who's in the know with Steve Austin says he's been training his butt off for this thing, and that he's in the best shape he's been in decades for this.
There was a picture floating around with him with his shirt off, and you could tell it was a recent picture. Yeah, and that did not look promising.
Yeah, the picture is a couple years old.
Is it? Okay.
But yeah, I do know what you're talking. I saw that picture.
So I don't know. I mean,
that was actually specifically what was said in the article. He's been working to where it's likely he'll take his shirt off.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's kind of what they said in the article.
As somebody who's tried to work towards that before, good luck to you.
I need more shirts.
I need more shirts. I need to put on multiple shirts. If this was any other pay-per-view, it'd be like, cool, because they're just setting up for the next thing. But, like, this is the thing, so...
And it's the main event of the night. I mean, it's gotta be...
I don't know.
Gotta be more than just a simple...
Someone's gotta go crazy. But if nothing else, I really loved the Kevin Owens in a ball cap.
Oh gosh, it was so good. There are a lot of people that are so mad at that, but it was such a good segment.
Part of the best part of that segment was that the bald cap was peeling off of his head. Like, it was very poorly put on, which I think was an intentional decision.
Absolutely was. I love that, like, watching the crowd when the music went off and they were all just like, no freaking way. And they believed it because we're this close to WrestleMania. And they're like, no way, I can't believe it. They're all getting their phones out. And then as soon as they realize, it took them a second even after Kevin Owens came out. Kevin Owens came out and the cheers went up until they're slowly realizing, oh, wait, no, boo. And then he got him again in the middle of the segment. Shot the music back on again, acted scared. Oh, I was rolling. That is the best freaking segment that has been on either show in years, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Years. So freaking funny.
Sorry for that noise, everybody. I keep dropping my phone, forgetting that
echoes the thing.
that there's a loud table here. So that's it for night one. Night two... and this is in no particular order, but Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, winner-take-all championship unification.
It's going to be great.
It will be. But why are we unifying the titles again?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
You're unifying the Universal title with with an already unified title.
Yeah.
Unless they plan on, like, splitting them back up eventually. Like, you had to invent the Universal title because you already unified. It just doesn't make any sense.
And I've been seeing rumors on both directions that they're gonna effectively end the brand split with this. At least
that's a good idea.
In at least an official capacity. Not to where like everybody's gonna be on every show, but there will be some people that are on every show and they're just not gonna address it.
Yeah.
But I've also seen the exact opposite, that this is a temporary measure and that they are going to de-unify the titles eventually. And so there's also no official word on if we're getting one title belt that's new, or they're just retiring one of them, or if it's just going to be Roman Reigns coming out with both belts.
See, I like both belts.
I like the idea of both belts too, but
I like two belts.
If you are unifying them, you can't just have two belts forever.
That's fair.
Which we learned with the first time this happened, when they had the WWE Heavyweight Championship belt and the WCW, or the World Heavyweight Championship belt on Chris Jericho, I think it was, when they unified them.
Yeah.
The first
they
time.
actually made a specific belt. But that was crazy because they split that belt apart again.
Again, yeah.
Like, so that was fair.
It's really weird.
But no, the match itself is going to be really, really good because both of these guys are at peak performance, but peak likability.
Yeah,
everybody
absolutely
likes both of these guys.
I think this is the first time that they've met up that everyone's like, okay, yeah, we're finally into this match.
This is not the same match it was the first 8 times. And that's the crazy, like, it's weird to say that, but this is not the match it was 8 times ago.
This is the match they wanted it to be all those times. Finally, they got it right.
So I'm very excited for this. Another match
I'm also digging like the subtle, like, Stone Cold vibe that we've been getting from Brock Lesnar lately. Like, he drove a forklift into Roman Reigns,
and then he ripped a truck
whatever.
door off.
Like, that was you know, driving those crazy vehicles. That was Stone Cold shtick for a while.
The thing, filling stuff with cement, which we'll talk about more. We're going to talk about it. Another match that I'm actually pretty excited about is Edge versus AJ Styles.
Dude, yes.
I think they're both going to take care of each other. I think they both really like each other in real life. I think they're both going to work. They're both top-notch performers.
And the build-up to this has been beautiful, too.
Yeah, it's stellar. So getting into more matches I'm less excited about. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn.
I think it's going to be fun.
Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
That's going to be your bathroom match?
It might.
I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be
an anything goes match as it has here.
That's why I think it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of weapons and goofiness and you know, you're going to laugh a lot. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. I'm excited for this because I like Pat McAfee.
I'm interested in what they're going to do. I told you this earlier in the week that I'm grateful that the rumors that it was going to be Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon turned out to be false.
Yeah.
But the rumor still persists that he's going to be involved in the match, possibly as a special guest referee or a ring enforcer or something. So he has been training himself lately, and this is potentially why. So that's going to be. I don't know how they're going to.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to play this out. I also feel like this is going to be slightly a comedy match.
Yeah, probably. But the McAfee Adam Cole match was not really a comedy match. Like, it was
That's
a real
true.
match, and it was a good match.
True.
And I think the key here is putting these guys in with guys who really know technically how to put on a good match.
Yeah.
You're not just throwing guys who can wrestle other wrestlers. You're throwing in guys who can take care of people. That's how he did it with Adam Cole. That's what they're doing with Austin Theory. I think it's a fantastic power move. I think it's also what they're doing with Logan Paul on the first night.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then RK Bro defending their tag team championships against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. And I want to like the Alpha Academy, but I just don't.
Yeah, I'm in that boat too.
They have all of the right stuff, but I just can't.
I can't
enjoy it.
I know for me, it's a mental block over the fact that Otis used to be so much better in his previous tag team. And I don't like this version of Otis compared to that. If this was the first version of Otis I'd ever seen, I might be fine with his tag team. But just because I know there was so much more to it before this that I enjoyed so much more, and now it's gone forever, it just taints the whole idea.
Yeah.
But this match, I think, is going to be a blast.
I like every person in this match.
Yes. RK Bro is going to be great. Street Profits are always freaking entertaining. I think this is going to be a very physical, impressive, and probably also slightly hilarious match.
Is it a tornado match or is it
As for what I tell, it just seems to be a
regular triple threat?
triple threat tag team match.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
And then some unknown matches. I guess
it doesn't know which night it's going to be in.
Okay. And then this match is the women's tag team championships. Queen Zelina and Carmella, who are champions, is going to be taking on Sasha Banks and Naomi, the team of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and the team of Shayna Baszler and Natalya.
It feels like we need to cram all the women into something match.
Yeah, like we need to give you a spot.
Yeah. I don't know.
We can't not have Natalya on the WrestleMania card, I guess.
I don't.
Again.
I don't want to. I don't want to poo-poo it just because it's a women's match, but I'm just not. I don't think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be maybe. I think it might be just fine, but I'm not expecting to be blown away by this.
I don't think you have to be worried about that, Matt, because we literally just got done praising the first two matches as the first two women's matches.
Oh, they're going to be amazing.
Really amazing.
They're going to be amazing.
It's not a guy-girl thing.
Sure. But I guess you just got to protect yourself from that sometimes.
It's a hero to all.
And then the one match that's not on there because it's probably not even going to be on the card until it's actually happening. But that's likely Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins.
I think this is a good comeback match for Cody Rhodes.
Absolutely.
It's happening.
And the Seth Rollins buildup of trying to take everybody else's spot at WrestleMania has been fantastic these last couple of weeks. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for
match.
I'm pretty excited for the whole card, really.
Yeah.
If this was all happening in one night, this would be a fantastic night of wrestling.
Absolutely. And having there only be 3 matches that I don't really care all that much about, but I'm also not like dreading.
That's better than it's been
for years.
Yeah.
Since pre-COVID.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun night. Well, those are our thoughts. We're not going to give our picks just yet, but we are going to give those. Night 1, Matt will be watching, and I will probably be in the chat. And then night 2, I will be here in studio.
So you can watch along with us, twitch.tv/LTN on air. And we'll be putting that on the Love Thy Nerd community Facebook group. We'll be putting it out on all of our socials.
Those are fun. Those watch-alongs are a lot of fun.
They're low-key, just we talk about wrestling. We'll probably do like an Ask Us Anything, about our wrestling opinions while the show's going on, or something like that too. Yeah. And there's just a lot more interaction, especially with WrestleMania. Yeah, especially with the big four usually, but WrestleMania on top. It's gonna be good. And
Matt will be defending his Two Words Podcast Championship.
It's the only belt I have right now.
Yeah.
For a brief 2-week period, I had both belts, man. I had this belt, and I had the Back Row Podcast belt. It was great. I was Matty 2 belts. It got taken from me.
That's beautiful. Well, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Attitude Era. So stay here.
This week in Nerd History, that's what she said.
Nerd History.
What did she say exactly? That she wanted to watch The Office. After becoming a hit in Britain under the leadership of Ricky Gervais, The Office was developed for American audiences and premiered to little fanfare on March 24th, 2005. That's not even mid-season. That first season run ran just for the last 6 weeks of spring prime time, and reviews were mixed. In fact, season 1 being so short might have been a blessing in disguise because it allowed them to retool the show and correct some of the things that didn't translate very well to American audiences. Season 2 saw things get a bit brighter and more colorful, fleshed out the characters a bit more, and changed Steve Carell's character Michael Scott from an oblivious narcissist to a more aloof, socially awkward yet awkwardly confident boss who had rare moments of brilliance. These changes brought an almost immediate turnaround in popularity. It would run up to 9 seasons, which managed to have amazing ratings even in the final 2 seasons after Steve Carell left the series. When the show had ended and the streaming rights were secured by Netflix, The Office was far and away the most watched show on the platform, all the way up until the US rights went back to its NBC home, landing the show on Peacock, and giving a nice boost to the new streaming service's numbers, as thousands and thousands of people signed up just to follow their favorite show. Since the move, Peacock has slowly been releasing superfan seasons, which intercut a lot of bonus footage and alternate takes not used in the original, and much of which weren't even in the deleted scenes on the DVD releases. They have superfanned the first 4 seasons as of this writing. Bottom line, The Office ranks up there with Seinfeld and Friends as the genre-defining series that will leave a legacy that will likely outlive us all. It's gotten so big, and it just keeps getting bigger. Don't say it. I'm Radio Matt. See you next time for more Nerd History.
And welcome back to the Two Words Podcast. And today our 2 words are bad attitude. And we are going to be talking about what is probably heralded as the greatest moment in wrestling history. In the history of this business, professional wrestling is the best when you talk about the Attitude Era.
No. 5 solid years of glory.
Was it 5? I mean, I think it was 97 to...
It was 96.
Okay.
Based on... I mean, there's different theories on officially when it started. Yeah. But generally, it's 96 to 2001.
Okay.
Is what the general thought is. So maybe it might stretch across a little bit more than 5 years, but roughly 5 years. Let's put it that way.
Sorry. I had a thought that I just should not say into a microphone. And that's the thing, is we're talking about the Attitude Era, so I feel like we are a family-friendly podcast, but I feel like if we're going to get unfamily-friendly...
There's going to be a couple things we're going to be talking about.
It might today.
Be awkward, yeah.
But we're not going to curse.
Of course.
Say any dirty words.
No.
We're not going to get graphic.
No.
Or anything like that. So, it's gonna be a fun discussion. Now, so what really separated the Attitude Era from former eras and eras today? And really, if you look at it, this is taken actually right from, I think, the Wikipedia page on the Attitude Era. It featured adult-oriented content, which included an increase in the level of depicted violence, profanity, and sexual content.
Yeah,
which is a recipe for getting America to love something,
especially like college age boys and teenage boys.
And that was what they did. They switched their efforts from. I think, a younger generation and an older generation, and they were like, well, let's meet somewhere in the middle because these are the guys that are wasting their money on stupid stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, early on, it was almost like a circus act. Like it was, back before it was on TV at all. Like the older generation, it was a strongman competition. Essentially, people would come and watch which meat slab would conquer the other meat slab. That was essentially the whole thing.
I mean, it was a circus event.
Yeah. And
that's what it started off as.
And then it became a kid's show. It was a Saturday morning show.
Yeah.
And it was for kids. Characters were all like people with jobs, a clown, a dentist, a lumberjack, a steel mill worker. Like it was more cartoony, a little superhero-esque. Take your vitamins, drink your milk, say your prayers. Like even after Raw moved to Monday Night Raw, the WWE moved to Monday Night Raw, the show still largely stayed the same. It was very kid-friendly, kid-oriented. Not in the same way that it's like family-friendly today, but in a way that's really like, look at this goofy guy. He's going to fight this goofy guy.
It was very campy.
Yeah, campy. That's a good word.
It was very campy. But I think they had to move in that direction because WCW was about to start on this very massive push of momentum, and
realism, a lot more of that.
Yeah, and realism. And I think Vince McMahon looked at it and said, if we're going to survive this, we're going to have to do the same thing, and then we're going to have to up the ante.
Yeah, ramp it up.
And he realized that realized that no press is bad press. There's no such thing as bad press.
Right.
If you're talking about it, good. And he figured out some really great ways. So what made the Attitude Era the best? What really came along that defined what that era was, and why do we still love it today?
I really think the beginning of it started with Vince himself. He did the whole Bret Hart thing, the Montreal screw job, as it's called, where he was afraid that Bret was going to take the heavyweight title to WCW, because Bret wanted to finish out that pay-per-view, which was his last contracted pay-per-view as the champion, and then come to Raw the next night and surrender the belt.
Yes.
WWE, who had already seen Sonny take the women's title over to WCW and throw the WWF women's title in the trash live on TV.
That was her thing.
They're like, we can't do that again. We can't risk that again. He's not under contract tomorrow night. There's nothing saying he doesn't take that immediately to a live taping of WCW and do that to our main belt, our heavyweight belt. Yeah. So
not doing that.
So they had to screw him out of the title and take it from him. And McMahon leaned into it. Everyone was mad at McMahon. He leaned into it, had an interview with Raw, and just became the Mr. McMahon character, the boss that everyone loved to hate. And I think that was the beginning, really. And so they got on, eventually and said, we're going to take things are going to be changing around here. His little.
That's a pretty good Vince McMahon.
With this voice right now, yeah.
That's a pretty good. And, let's just record a Vince McMahon episode so we can do impressions.
And, we started seeing DX rise up. We started seeing Stone Cold rise up. But I think one of the cool things about that era, when you go back and look at it, is that they were able to handle many larger-than-life characters at the same time. Like currently with the product, it feels like we have 4 superstars at any given point, and they're the only ones in the main title picture. They're the only ones that people really care about. Everybody else is kind of on the fringes. But here you had Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind, Undertaker, Triple H, and even if they weren't going for any titles or anything like that, you still cared about their storylines. Like they were putting a lot more focus on story-driven stuff as opposed to just who's got the belt this week. Like there are people that were just wanting to take over the whole company.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I have is the complexity of the stories. They had stories.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing is they created stories, and they made things like, and especially, if we talk about them now, it's like I saw a woman on TikTok who was basically making fun of one of the Stephanie McMahon situations. She's like, "Can you imagine being engaged to one of your dad's employees, and then another one of your dad's employees kidnaps you and takes you to a wedding chapel in Vegas and marries you in a drive-through wedding chapel, and you're still married to them 22 years later?"
Like you were very quickly okay with it.
That was just, and everything. Yeah, I'm not daddy's little girl anymore. And then you just kind of went along with the thing.
Yeah.
Visually, everything changed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big thing. And we talked about how much we hate the new entrance, or how much I hate the new entrance. I don't know if you want to say hate.
I don't hate, but I definitely did love the Titantron better.
Yeah.
Titantron era had that, stage. It wasn't sleek and smooth. It was, metal and, rough, like how you want to feel with attitude.
Yeah, very dark
titanium.
and very, very, very rough. You had like a ramp that people could walk down and things could happen on that ramp.
You had a dope video going on. That was an actual like best of hits video for your stuff, and not just like some weird augmented reality graphics that we have nowadays. Like, I don't need to see 90-foot tall bronze Roman Reigns every time he comes out of the stage. I would love to see a video package playing behind him of every dominating punch and
Superman punch
and spear he's done in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
Like, I miss that kind of stuff. It was a lot more fun, and it felt more real. The augmented reality stuff almost takes me out of the realism. Makes you feel like a video game for a little while.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like a video game. I want to feel like it's real.
And there was Pyro too. Like they introduced
dude,
Pyro.
Pyro.
Their music got a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And you stopped having good. I think the biggest thing is you stopped having good guys and bad guys. You just had guys. At some point, you just had two dudes.
Yeah.
And
Undertaker was a good guy most of the time, and he was the scariest, evilest guy.
I mean, like, you look at DX versus the Nation of Domination. Who was the face in that feud?
Mm-hmm. That's a good comparison right there.
Like, there was no good, it just didn't work that way.
Another thing about that era is that they cared about all the belts nearly to the same degree.
Yep.
The hardcore title, the Intercontinental title, the tag titles, people cared about who had them. They were important. They were a big deal. I don't even know who the Intercontinental or United States Championship are right now. Who are the champions?
Finn Balor is U.S. champion, and Ricochet is Intercontinental.
Okay, and
we
so
are bad wrestling, man.
No, we're not, because they're not even being defended at WrestleMania. There's 87 matches.
True. No, they are. One of them is. I'm almost certain.
Is it a pre-show match?
It could be. I think it's Damian Priest and Finn Balor is for the United
but
States
still, like, you're gonna put what is supposed to be your second tier titles.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be on the pre-show.
Yeah. Oh, I've said that for years.
If nothing else, you should swap out the Shinsuke Rick Boogs. Oh, no, that's the title match. Swap out the Mysterios match with Logan Paul and The Miz and put a title match in there.
The first time I ever saw them do that, they pulled that crap with The Miz, and he won the Intercontinental Championship from, I think, Wade Barrett at like WrestleMania 29.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I remember thinking, like, you put that on the pre-show?
Right.
That's a championship, and that's a rich, illustrious championship. That championship means more than the WWE championship.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, they took the hardcore title, which for a lot of its run was essentially the 24/7 title that we have now. Imagine them putting the 24/7 title with nearly as much focus as the main heavyweight championship title belt.
Yeah.
Every week you were actually watching and you cared. They had real choreographed things happening. It wasn't just like, okay,
somebody sneaking up and doing a pinfall.
Hit someone with a frying pan. All right, I'm the new champion for the next 7 weeks. We'll see you then.
Yeah.
For the, I mean, like they put effort into all of that. We also got to see like the original iterations of Hell in a Cell, tables, ladders, and chairs. Like all these new concepts where they hadn't become commonplace.
Yeah.
And
The tag team division was so good back then.
Oh, gosh, dude, the years where we had the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian in that top tier of tag teams, even when they weren't fighting for championship belts, like they were amazing. And
so good.
We have good tag teams now, but they're not given any kind of push or spotlight. We got a women's tag team division now. They're just like, let's just throw them all into one thing.
They immediately gave up on it. They immediately gave up on it.
I understand that they have added more titles to compensate for the two, brands now, and so it's harder to put that much focus on all of them. But at the same time,
you can book it.
At the same time, you put a lot of crap. I don't need to see an almost match every dang week. An almost match for nothing, where he's doing nothing for nobody that nobody wants. He's getting up there giving the worst mic work in the business right now. Mispronouncing words, doesn't know what he's saying.
I mean, is that his fault? Because he's from Nigeria.
It's not his fault. It's WWE's fault for putting him in that position right now.
It's your fault.
He is not the guy that needs to be on the screen. We need to see Finn Balor on the screen more often. We need to see people who are doing stuff, do the stuff. I'm sorry.
We need Dolph Ziggler not relegated to be an NXT championship.
You know what?
Be an NXT champion. And I love it.
I love it. Because it's more than he's been given.
And it is. But NXT...
they were tag champions for half a year. Yeah. And nobody cared.
Yeah. The only problem I have with it, and this is we're doing rabbit trails today, but I don't care.
This is why, man. This is why Attitude Era was better.
The biggest problem with that is you've got Dolph Ziggler as your NXT champion, and Mandy Rose as your NXT Women's Champion.
She's still the Women's Champion?
I think so.
I haven't watched it in a while.
But NXT started this whole NXT 2.0, and it's young and it's fresh and it's new, and we got all these young wrestlers who are just aching for some sort of opportunity. But we're gonna give Dolph Ziggler the championship.
They've already crapped on it. It's already garbage. They're already working on 3.0. You know it in the background. Like there's nope, this wasn't it. This wasn't the thing.
But 3.0 is exactly the same as 1.0.
3.0 is like back to basics.
It's like when when Windows let everybody go back to XP after Vista. It's like, do you want to re-download XP again?
This is Braun Breaker super gluing that big X back together.
Yeah,
the golden X that he broke in half.
Yeah,
I'm sorry guys, we were wrong.
This was a bad idea. So. We don't have to do a separately best and worst, but like,
I have a
give me the good, give me the bad. For me, some of the bad, the Brawl for All, where they decided to say, hey, let's put people in unsanctioned boxing matches and see how that plays out. And that lasted all of 3 weeks because nobody knew that Bart Gunn was an actual boxer.
It was a 2-month-long slog that nobody cared about. So what's funny is, like, I think it was Bradshaw, John JBL, like, typed up this whole dissertation about why WWE needed a hardcore division.
Yeah.
And turned it in, and they read that, and they're like, okay, we'll have you really box each other.
Boxing.
Like, what? Hold on, no, that's not what we were, but they did it anyway, and it was real boxing, and you had people getting really injured.
Yeah.
And they expected, what was it, Dr. Death? They expected Dr. Death to be the winner. But then he was like out in round 1.
Yeah. Well, everybody was like, I remember I was listening to something about it the other day. So he was like, nobody knew that Bart Gunn was actually like a Golden Gloves boxer. And then you had to put him against like Butterbean.
WrestleMania or whatever.
It was just
dude. Yeah. Dude turned into a totem pole and just conked out, just flat. It was ridiculous.
For me, also bad. Mark Henry and the transvestite.
Transvestite was bad. I also have Mark Henry and Mae Young giving birth to a hand.
Yep,
covered in goop.
And
she was 93 years old. She gave birth to just a grown human hand.
And I love that he tells the story. He's like, I asked them why, and they were like, because it's a hand, man.
It's a hand, bro.
It's a hand. Isn't it
That's
great?
hilarious.
This is some Mark Russo or Vince Russo bull crap.
I actually think this was Vince McMahon's idea.
It probably was.
I'm pretty sure.
I think Brawl for All was a Vince Russo thing,
Yeah,
though. It was definitely Vince Russo.
You talked about the Triple H wedding surprise. That's on my list of worst.
Then the big reason I hated it as one of the worst is because it eventually led to the McMahon Helmsley era,
Which, looking back, it didn't actually last all that long.
No.
To me, it felt like it lasted 6 months.
decades.
It was a bad era. Okay, one of the worst was when they had Hawk, who was actually struggling with like alcoholism and stuff,
Yeah.
climb onto the top of the Titantron, threaten to jump to commit suicide. They had Draws, who'd been hanging out with Hawk and Animal, climb up there acting like he's going to save Hawk and then push him off.
This just doesn't watch well.
I
nowadays.
I never like when WWE takes actual controversial things that are happening in real people's lives and like, let's make this a story. Like the Matt Hardy Edge
didn't age
and
well.
Lita thing.
Yeah.
That was terrible too. Like they actually hate each other.
Somebody
Why
was
are
going to
we
get
doing
hurt.
this? Yeah.
Somebody was going to get really hurt back
So
then.
there were quite a few moments. The choppy pee-pee. Where Val Venus was being punished for sleeping with Mr. Yamaguchi's wife, the manager for Kai and Tai, and they literally brought him back. Had a whole segment where he was turned away from camera, but heavily implied that they just placed his little Val on a chopping block, and then got out a samurai sword, and.
Yeah. You want to know why? And that's really how you know that Attitude Era was something different. It was like, hey, back in the 80s, our characters were construction workers and lumberjacks and clowns, and now they're porn stars. That's a character. There's nothing else to it. He's just an adult entertainer.
Yeah, the dude, I don't remember his actual name now, but he goes in. They're like, okay, so your character, he's a film star. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, he's an adult film star. Like, all right. Like, I'm in WWE. I'm gonna play ball. This is what you're gonna give me.
All right.
I mean, he played the character well, but I mean, like the sexual innuendo. This is what I really think separated the WCW era in that time with WWE. WCW didn't really go heavily on the sexual side of the Attitude Era, esque stuff. They were into the realism, they were into the violence, they were into that kind of stuff. But WWE really leaned into the let's encourage our female audience members to flash their tops, off. And it's like that kind of stuff is the only stuff about the Attitude Era that I look back. I'm like,
it's a little cringy nowadays.
Godfather's locomotive of ladies,
lustry ladies,
always very very uncomfortable looking back. Vince McMahon had Trish Stratus on her all fours barking like a dog in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
like the bra and panties matches that they had, like every 4 months. Every big pay-per-view, there was one of those, it felt like.
Yeah.
And more than a couple occasions where they had actual female wrestlers take off their tops.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff just didn't age well.
That everything sexual related did not age well.
Several good things that I loved. The creation of SmackDown. I think that was awesome, and especially now that SmackDown's awesome now. Milkomania. The milk truck,
which was a
play on the big
successor
truck
to the beer truck,
which
was also a fantastic thing.
And the cement truck.
Cement truck was good.
The hardcore title being a 24/7, like that's what the 24/7. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah,
like they were actual like fights. Like there was one in a Chuck E. Cheese.
It was great.
And it was awesome.
They were going down the freaking slides over the ball pit. It was fantastic.
It's awesome.
There was one match that I really loved that got a botched ending, but they turned it into you have like 30 minutes and there's like 15 guys.
Yeah.
And it's just whoever has the title at the end of the match gets to run off with it.
Yeah.
And it was
That was at
supposed to-
WrestleMania.
I think it was,
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be Crash Holly winning it at the very end, like in the last couple seconds, but they were timed off just a bit. And so Hardcore Holly still had it.
Yeah.
And so they had to correct that the very next night. Yeah. But still, it was a beautiful match. Beautiful match. It changed hands like 20 times in 15 minutes. I loved it.
And lastly, I think one of the probably the best thing about the Attitude Era was WWE versus the Parents Television Council, because that was free advertising. They didn't have to pay for that. It was like, hey, the Parents Television Council doesn't want you to watch wrestling, and all the college kids were like, well, guess what I'm watching.
It was their theme entrance. Bop, bop. Like it was the most annoying thing, and it went on for.
Oh no, I'm talking about the actual Parents Television Council that sued them.
Oh, you're right. Well, I thought this was all a part of it.
Yeah,
it's like they made a stable based on that,
and they did
with Blue Meanie, Steven Richards. Is that was his name?
It was Val Venus.
Val Venus was in it too, but Steven Richards was the main guy. The guy that was tag team with Blue Meanie. I don't remember what his actual name was. They had was it one of the women?
I want to say Alundra Blaze, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't her. She was already in WCW.
It was.
I don't remember. But anyway, and then they had the Godfather as well. Like they had I always forget
Godfather was in
all of the like sexual innuendo.
Yeah.
Big names like became part of this thing, and that was a smart move. Because it was like, whoa, that's so different.
Yeah.
Like, it was entertaining.
That was fantastic.
I got This Is Your Life Rock.
Yes.
Which went on twice as long as it was supposed to. And Vince McMahon was screaming and cussing in the back that it was still going on. But it became one of the best moments of the Attitude Era. I got Big Daddy-O Did It. When we've talked about this a lot, when Mankind won the title, with a lot of extra help from Stone Cold and DX and all that, but still, you got to get on the mic and tell my son, Big Daddy-O did it. The Y2J countdown, perfect. Like this was before, like everyone was going to internet and all this. You didn't really know what was happening, and so there was so much speculation. What is this countdown? And it went on for weeks. It was like 8 weeks of this countdown. And like, what is going to happen? And then Chris Jericho came out interrupting a Rock promo, and they just had this beautiful back and forth. That's one of my favorite scenes of all time. We talked about DX invading WCW a few times. That's a classic.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorites. But literally, I think my favorite moment from then, and I've said this on the podcast too, was the reveal of the higher power behind the corporate ministry.
You really loved that moment.
I really loved it. Because I did not believe it was going to happen. Like they really that was the first time the WWE really tricked me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, there's no way. Vince has become such a nice guy. He's such a hero now. There's no way it's going to be him. It was me, Austin. You all bought it.
It was me all along.
Oh, gosh.
Well,
it was beautiful.
We love the Attitude Era. We hope that you, as wrestling fans, love the Attitude Era. And I know that things have changed. They've changed for the better, I think. It is now a program that we can all watch with our families.
Well, that is. I just want to say that one last point, because we have that one question that I know you're skipping over, but
it's not kind of running late. This is very long-winded.
But the reason why it wouldn't work anymore is simple. The teenagers, those of us who loved it when we were growing up with it, know that we don't want our kids to see that now. Yeah. And we know what the WWE is capable of doing. So WWE has built itself back into a family brand out of necessity. They can play with it a little bit, like with the violence. But if they pull a huge switch again, they're going to lose a lot of the family base, especially with female objectification. Yeah. And so it was a good change, a necessary change for wrestling at the time. And there are definitely some moments that we can pull out of it that are still going to be beautiful for years to come. Yeah. But there was also a lot of garbage that came along with it that we would not want to tolerate today. And I definitely wouldn't. I'm not going to let my kids watch those Raws ever. Once they're 18 and out of the house, they can watch them if they want. But there's no way. No way.
Well, and simply, and here on because I did ask that question, why does the Attitude Era not work anymore? And I simply think for the same reason it did work. It's because of all of the violence, because of all of the graphic content. I mean, what you're saying.
Late 90s was a different time, man.
Yeah, it worked, and now it doesn't work for the same reason that it did work. Now it doesn't work because of the violence and because of the graphic content and because of the language. And
it's the same reason that South Park isn't popular anymore.
That's fair.
Like it's South Park was a big deal at that same time, and now they're relegated to like 10 episode seasons on Paramount Plus, the least popular streaming service. I mean, it's only the few.
I honestly do love Paramount Plus though. So
it's just the old fans that are still keeping it alive. But yeah.
Well,
nostalgia is a good place.
And it's a good thing to watch, and you can watch a whole lot of that stuff on Peacock now. So for a good bit of nostalgia,
watch the Monday Night War series that they put out, because that gives you a good censored version of what went down during that time, and very entertaining and long series. Like they pick apart every piece of thing they can.
Yeah. No, it's going to be awesome. That's it for us today. We hope you enjoyed the show. Come back next Saturday night, or next Saturday evening, late afternoon.
April 2nd and 3rd.
April 2nd and 3rd. I'm just trying to... The time is so weird because it's a 2-day thing, but they're still probably going to be 6 hours apiece.
Roughly 6 p.m. Eastern time at the latest. We might come on earlier for pre-show stuff, but at the latest, 6 p.m. Eastern time each night.
So join us in our Twitch. What is our Twitch?
Twitch.tv/LTN on air. Or you can find the link at all of our socials at the time at 2 words LTN.
Well, thank you, Matt, for the wonderful discussion. I really liked today's discussion.
This is a good one, man. This is one of my favorite podcasts so far.
Good episode. Well, until next weekend, my name is John. His name is Matt. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Goodbye.